Everything you can possibly think of when you do your first live performance happened to me. And I mean everything.
So Anthony just asked him to play the guitar for him. They're rehearsing right now. Anthony is fearless. He has no shame whatsoever. This is the host of the event right here.
Inside these pages, you just hold me. I swear that every word you say you wrote me. Like it was a private show, but I know you never saw me.
Hey, what's up? It's Tony DeBell, and today we're going to show you these 6 tips so that when you have your first live performance, you are as prepared as possible. So let's get started. The very first tip you want to do is you want to make sure you muscle memory it. And when I say muscle memory, I mean you know the song backwards, inside and out. Like, you are freaking sick of hearing the song. Now, the reason why you want to do this is because when you do this, you want to make sure that when you are performing live, you don't have to think about it. You can focus on the performance and you can focus on the audience, because what happened was when I went on stage, my mind blanked out. And when I mean blanked out, I meant like I forgot the lyrics. So I was like, without even actually singing the lyrics, which is a no-no. But, you know, I had to perform a melody, so, you know. But another reason why you want to muscle memory is because in case that anything ever happens, that you can actually just focus on the expression of the song, because after the technicalities, you want to focus on the emotion. And it's actually the emotion which either brings up the performance or it brings it down. So if you can make the audience feel a certain way when you perform, then that's for the best. And you know, you have all the lyrics, you have your vocals, and you have your piano. And another mistake you want to avoid when you do these muscle memories is just to not focus on the piano. So if you're just playing the piano and you muscle memory it really good, but then you're singing and you muscle memory really good, but then you realize that when you play together, it's not the perfect. Like, you have like 80% of the time where you can sing it, but you can't. Then that's when it becomes a little bit of a problem, because you want to make sure it's 100%, because even though I was at 80% and I thought I knew the song pretty well, when it came time for performance, I completely blanked out. So when I say like reach for that 100% when you're sick of it, I mean it. The second thing you want to do, especially for your first few performances, is you want to choose a low stakes area. This means either a coffee shop where there's like people that, you know, enjoy the background, or what I did, which was an open mic where people are just enjoying a good time and people are just performing on stage and you could listen to it or not. And the reason why you want to do a low stakes is because first time, you know, anything you do for the first time, you're probably going to suck at it. All right. I'm just going to put that out there. And this applies to performing on stage. If you don't perform on stage often, it's another skill you have to practice. And that's why you want to have a zero pressure area or a very low pressure. So in case you make any mistakes like I did, there's completely no repercussion. You know, people didn't pay for your performance. People didn't actually like come look for you. This is completely low stakes, no trouble. And this is actually a good place to start experimenting after your first performance to see like if a song sticks, if it doesn't stick. And this is a great idea, especially for beginners. So choose a low stakes area. You don't want to choose a high stakes area as a stadium for your first time. You're just preparing for this whole conference. And then when you perform on stage, you mess up and it's just like the biggest mishap. You don't want that. Third tip you want to do is you want to make sure when you do something, especially like a performance, you want to visualize it. Even better is if you can actually visit the place beforehand. And the reason why is you want to do some mental training. You want to do some mental lifting when you are about to do that performance. Because when you go up on stage, you are probably your nerves are gonna get a little bit, like, if you are a human being, you're gonna get a little nervous. Okay? Unless you're a psychopath. But there's actually 2 reasons why. One is there's a lot of pro athletes that do this before a game, so why not just do it before your performance? And what this does is it helps you get more comfortable. And when you're more comfortable, one, if you're singing, it's gonna help you relax, you know, your muscles so that you can actually bring out your full potential. And 2, when you get comfortable, it's a lot more easy to express the emotions that you want to express in your performance, because if you're just thinking, if you're not comfortable, you're going to be thinking like, am I hitting the right notes? Am I playing the song right? Is it on the right tempo? And you're going to have all these things in your head and you're not going to be focusing on the performance, which is why people came to see you. So make sure that when you are performing that you just get comfortable in your environment. if you can't play in your environment, at least visit it. And if you can't visit it, then you want to at least visualize it, or just see pictures on Google Images of the place that you're going to perform. And it's going to make it so much easier so that when you step on stage, you are more comfortable than you were before. Tip number cuatro. You want to make sure that you prep well and you eat well. What I mean by this is that before my first live performance, I was picking out. I was eating some chocolate chip cookies. I was eating some like ice cold bottled water before the performance. I was eating, bacon with like a heavy bread and just like a lot of pastries. And what this does is it reduces your energy levels. But more importantly, what it did was it kind of altered my voice a little bit. It made it a little bit more, I don't know, nasally or just like phlegmy. This applies mainly to singers. And the reason for this is because when you are doing this, you want to have the best voice as possible. Sometimes there's something could come up, you're coughing a bit, but your voice is an instrument and you have to take care of it before, unlike me, before a performance. And this is just like one of the mistakes that is just so obvious, but it's not so obvious during the moment or when you're just practicing and preparing. It's like one of those few things. It's like, yeah, I should do it, but then I don't do it. And then I face the consequences afterwards. It is so important to eat clean right before a performance, because if you don't, then that means that you can't give your best performance. And the second thing to add on to that is that bring a water bottle, because I didn't do that. And during my second set for a song I was singing, my voice was just like, it was so bad. It was so dry that I couldn't perform my best. Like, I could hit the notes, but I had to push real hard. And it sounded like I was like growling a little bit in my voice, because my voice was so freaking dry. It's like I drank like a glass of alcohol before going up there. It was pretty bad. So bring a water bottle and make sure you eat and prep well. Tip number 5, expect things to just not go as planned. So this was a very important lesson for me, and that when you do a live performance, just expect things just it won't go as you think. For example, when I was doing my first live performance, I was expecting, since they said they'd bring a piano, I expected that they would bring a piano. But on the day of the event, they didn't bring a piano. So this kind of screwed me over a little bit, where my friend who I was playing the piano for, he had to do an a cappella. And for me, when I was supposed to be singing and playing the piano, well, I didn't have a piano. So my next best option was to play the guitar. So what I did was I scrolled through the app. I tried to freaking memorize the guitar chords in 20 to 30 minutes. And basically what happened was I was reading my phone while during the performance, and I was blanking out because I was thinking of the chords. I couldn't think of the lyrics. Basically, just expect things to just not go as planned. But this also makes it so that you want to make sure that you don't share this with the audience. You don't want to be like, hey, so they don't have a piano, so I'm gonna play guitar, because it preps them for a worse performance. What you should do is you should just own it and just continue on, which was what I did. And the second thing is you want to be a little bit more flexible with how you see things, because, for example, for the second set, I was like, this is too freaking hard. Like 20 minutes, I'm not even a guitar player, and I'm trying to play the guitar and sing and do a live performance. So what I did was I asked the host if he can play the guitar. Like, I don't even know the host, but luckily he could play the guitar. It wasn't perfect because he was literally right at the moment, and I showed him the guitar chords, and basically, as he was learning the song, I was also just singing along and just having fun. But it's pretty funny. I just asked the host. But this can happen to your performance, whether it's they didn't bring the instrument, or the lights don't work, or your voice, is like has a sore throat, or someone doesn't show up, or one of the instruments or lights break, or someone breaks their leg. Anything could happen before a performance. And one thing you want to do is you just be like, okay, so this happened. What can we do next? What's the next step of action that we can do? And when you focus your mind to thinking like that, it doesn't think of the problem, but it starts looking for solutions. And that's one of the things you want to do, especially for your first few performances. As a beginner, it's nerve-wracking. And then if something doesn't go as planned, well, it's even more nerve-wracking. So just expect things to not go as planned. And if things do go as planned, perfect. Just do your performance. Finally, the last tip is you want to do this for yourself. Now, before you do it for your fans, you want to make sure that you are having fun, or you're doing it for your mission, but this is mainly for yourself. And the reason why you want to do this is because when you do it for yourself, one, it makes you feel good, and two, whether the performance goes bad or good. You just want to be kind to yourself, pat yourself on the back for actually doing it, because not many people perform live, especially on stage, and it's always the hardest the first few times. So whenever you perform on stage, make sure it's for yourself, because at the end of the day, you're taking with you, whether you're recording this and you're showing it to your future kids or your family or friends, or it's just memories. At the end of the day, these are things that you just want to take with you. And then afterwards, you want to consider your fans, because after you consider yourself, you want to make sure that you do as best of a performance as you can, and that's your audience. So when you do that, first priority yourself and then your fans, because then when you have your fans and you great performance and they either love you or they hate you or whatever, hopefully they love you. But if they don't, well, get better. If they love you, it creates a cycle where it just makes you want to keep doing it. So that's my take on it. Do it for yourself. All right, peace out.